that'll. I don't think that will be the case.
See, we got some folks flowing into the room. We got Nitrogen here and Advyzon. Really appreciate everybody's time. I think we'll give maybe 2 minutes. We'll start at 4:02. Try to be prompt. Want to be respectful of those that are showing up on time, but also give folks a little bit of time. So I'm gonna actually get my screen share rolling. We'll get a slide up on the screen here, and we can go from there. Henry, you can hear me okay, right?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Perfect. Like I said, just going to give everybody maybe a couple minutes here before we get rolling. I guess, Henry, you want to start? We could do some intros if that's cool with you. My name is Max Routhley. As you can see here, Enterprise Sales and Services Sales Manager. That title changes every month. So who knows on my side? I've been with Nitrogen for about 10 years now. So kind of had every title in the book on my side. So yeah, been working with our large partners and our integration guys for 10 years now. I'll pass it over to Henry really quick for an intro.
Yeah, I'm Henry Vanderlaan. I'm an account executive here at Advyzon. So that means I cover firms with 250 custodial accounts and fewer. I've worked for Advyzon for 5 years now in a couple of different roles, and been in this role for about 2.5. Um, but worked all over the country and loved working with Advyzon. So I can't wait to teach everybody a little bit more.
Yeah. A couple housekeeping items. So yeah, as we're getting rolling here, please submit questions. This is Henry and I were just laughing. Like webinars can be kind of weird. You're just talking to yourself in a room. So it's always helpful from our perspective. Henry's going to start. We're going to do advise on first. We're going to talk through some things. We'll kick it over to the nitrogen side. We're going to try to keep things pretty light, going through things, make sure that you guys get your questions answered. So please submit those when you get a chance, put those in there. We'll try to kind of we have a group in the background kind of answering questions and things like that. We would love. I'm seeing in here got some hands raised. Not sure if that's on purpose or not. We'll ignore that. If it isn't, just let me know. I'll leave that be though. It's an interesting hand raise. And then from there, we would love some feedback. So if you wouldn't mind after the webinar, please give some feedback there. That'd be fantastic. And then everybody's favorite thing, there will absolutely be a recording of the webinar when we are done. I just want to do a couple of quick things for the intro before I pass it over to Henry, right? So what we're doing here today is giving an overview of how these two systems work together. So actually, funny enough, I was on the front end of establishing the deeper integration that we have with Advyzon. We did that on behalf of an enterprise client of ours that is a mutual client that really wanted a better integration. So everybody on the phone here today learning about this, you get to benefit from a firm that wanted to be a trailblazer and really work on this. So from our perspective, when we think about the integration, I know Henry's going to touch on some more Advyzon centric things, but when I think about the integration, we're really going to talk about four key things: real-time portfolio syncing, embedded risk number scoring inside of Advyzon, integrated model management, which is again kind of where that Advyzon integration went a little bit further. And then the biggest thing that Advyzon did that nobody else is doing is what they did with our reports. So I'll be sure that I hit on that on the back end. But from my perspective, I think that's a pretty good landing point. Henry, are you ready for me to stop staring and send this thing over to you?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
All right, let me start sharing my screen for everybody. So I'm just going to set the stage here a little bit about Advyzon. I know we have some Advyzon users on the call, but I generally want to start out and just make sure that everybody knows who we are, what we do. A lot of different elements of Advyzon, but when I talk about Advyzon technology, there's really kind of 5 or 6 key elements that I think of. First and foremost is going to be portfolio management and client reporting. We'll dive deep into that. That's very well um, synced with nitrogen, as Max just alluded to. Fee billing, so how you actually generate revenue and structure your fees. CRM, that's going to be a little bit different than some of our competitors in the space. Fully integrated CRM connects very deeply with both Office 365 and Gmail. Things like email communication will auto track archive and sync. Our idea is that you're going to see everything from both a relationship perspective and an investment perspective when you go into a client household. Next is going to be document management. That is a full document storage system. Um, Things like 1099s and custodial statements can come over automatically. And those documents are also viewable in your client's portal and mobile app. This is an area for your clients to actually be able to go in, see their accounts, see their documents, all of that in one spot. Again, it'll be branded to your company, have your logo, branding, color scheme. And then we do also have rebalancing capabilities for those firms that need it. There are a lot of other capabilities, but I do want to touch on AIM, which is our investment management team that can help with things like an OCIO, tax overlay, direct indexing, access to model marketplace, and just to kind of give some context here, we do range in terms of all size and shapes of firms, from aggregators, large firms with 30,000 accounts, all the way down to firms that I work with solo practitioners, maybe just starting up with 10 or 15 accounts. So we're not going to have enough time to get into all of this today. Would love to speak to some of you who haven't maybe dove deep on Advyzon before, but I'm going to start sharing my screen and just going through Advyzon and what it looks like, and then we'll flip it over to Max. So I generally start most of my demos here on this main dashboard. This is a really good example of what Advyzon is trying to do and how the system thinks and works. So it is trying to provide data that you find, most relevant to your day-to-day. Now, everybody at your firm can have your own login and layout depending on the sort of data that you like to see. And then you can come in here and rearrange it. So for example, I work with a lot of breakaways and startups. Opportunities tends to be top of mind for a lot of firms that I work with. You can drag in your pipeline, hit save, and now the first thing you see every morning is going to be your opportunities. If that is not relevant for you, you can just go back in, take this out, and delete it. And now your opportunities are taken away from view. That's going to be true of a lot of Advyzon. It's very configurable to your eye and what you like to see, make that easily accessible. And before I move on to kind of more the meat and potatoes of things, I do like to show this ADV compliance dashboard. This has been a huge time saver for a lot of my practitioners who have found filing their ADV quite cumbersome. Because we're doing all the import and reconciliation of your data, we can break out some of those major filing categories. All of that is exportable to Excel. So whether that's RUM by custodian, or especially I work in the DC area, so a lot of my Maryland, Virginia, DC people, RUM by state, huge time saver for them. All that just quickly exportable to Excel by hitting that button there. So I'm going to jump into kind of more the day-to-day use of Advyzon. Now, this is a client record, and this is where you're going to see some of the portfolio management, some of the CRM, document management, all of those different elements of Advyzon that I alluded to will come together here in this client record. So quickly, we're going to see everything from both, an investment standpoint, total market value, what's available in cash, recent history, all, notes, tasks, activities. This is where that email sync is going to come to play as well. All that's going to archive here. Again, you can see opportunities associated with this household, members of the household, any emails here. That's how we're tracking and archiving those emails. And again, just like you've seen, it's all somewhat drag and drop and plug and play. So you can rearrange this to suit your eye. Now, one of the other really cool things, and this is unique to nitrogen, is this risk score up here. You can see that nitrogen risk score for this client is easily accessible and ready for you. We'll get to this in a little bit, but if I click that button, we're going to jump you right over to nitrogen. So keep that in top of mind. I'm going to flip over to some of the reporting capabilities of Advyzon. This is really our strength. Of the many things we do, I'd say reporting is probably the best. 3 levels of reports in Advyzon. First and foremost, client reports. That's where most of you will live. These are the reports that you're going to deliver on a weekly, quarterly, monthly basis. Firm level reports. Think of these as big Excel tables for you. Total management fee report. Security cross-reference if you want to see who holds a particular position. 13F holding report. Schedule D asset report. Those sorts of things. As I mentioned, though, most are going to live here in client reports. I'm going to show a quick example of what a kind of complete comprehensive report can look like. Again, this is going to be your logo, branding, color scheme. You can change around all of this font. It's up to you how this is going to display. Basic table of contents or something like that. But in here under portfolio overviews where we can get really into the nitty gritty. Now, nitrogen down here in the bottom left, again, very connected to nitrogen. You can always display, their data, whether it's in the client portal or on a report like this. Again, we can drag and drop all of these different data sets that we're looking at to suit our eyes. So maybe we don't want top performing securities here. We'd rather see something like an asset allocation pie chart. We can drag that in. We can change how this displays as well. So maybe we want it to be a little bit more broad in terms of asset class, and we want to show this as a legend and a table. We can do so. Or we can just delete it outright. Again, lots of customization that you can do here. This might be better suited on a one-on-one demo to get into your specific reporting needs. But once this is created to how you like it, you'll then hit save. What will happen then is that report will save here in our reporting templates. And then the real horsepower of Advyzon reporting is you can then go in and say, okay, I would like this particular report or that group of reports to run on a consistent basis, whether that's monthly, daily, or quarterly. You can toggle that on, run that report for everybody who's assigned to that task, and then quickly and easily share those reports into their client portal, quickly having them sync. I'm going to pause here just to check, make sure there aren't any questions that I need to answer. Doesn't look like it. So moving on here, I'm going to get into billing really quickly, then we'll get back into a client record, and then we'll flip it over to Max. So, right alongside billing, or right alongside reporting, excuse me, is billing in terms of our top capabilities. So lots of flexibility in terms of the billing structures that you can create and exclusions that you can do. When you come into our billing center, you are going to see just kind of high level data about what's going on with revenue generation, how you've grown revenue quarter to quarter, what sort of billing settings do you have. First and foremost, you'll come into your fee settings. You'll build out your different breakpoints. Things like billing in advance, arrears, quarterly, monthly, a custom period. Maybe you have some clients who pay you by check and don't deduct from the account. You can certainly do average daily balance or average month-end balance. Build out your different breakpoints and fee structures here. Blended tier and best tier are supported. You can prorate cash flows should somebody open an account in the middle of a quarter, all of that good stuff. Once this is done, you'll hit save and close. You can then assign that back out to your clients. Most do this in bulk, certainly mass update. You can also go in and reallocate fee weights. I know that's true for a lot of different firms wanting to make sure that certain accounts pay for others. So making sure that in this instance, maybe the IRAs are paid for by the individual, something like that. Once all this is done, you can save, close, and then at the end of the quarter, you'll come up to your task list. You'll run your monthly or quarterly billing workflow. You can even test run, which I quite like, just to get a sense of what revenue is going to be. Make sure that your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. When you hit run now, what will happen is it'll build a CSV file for you that you can then take to your custodial partners and submit those billings directly. And then our best practice is to have, in reports, something like this generate, just switching over some form of billing overview, just showcasing what clients were billed, right, what their annual rate was, if there were any fee adjustments that needed to happen, all of that good information. I know for the state of Florida, they also require this, showing the billing details and actually how the calculation was done. So all of this being integrated together saves you a lot of time, energy, effort. We've saved advisors, I think, we ran a study that said they save about 200 hours per year on administrative tasks from switching to Advyzon just by consolidating all these different tools. Now, any questions on this before I jump back into a client record and kind of switch it over to Max for nitrogen?
I don't see any questions in there. Can I put you on the spot, Henry?
Sure, go for it.
What's something like over what you covered so far? Like, what's something you feel like doesn't get enough like prez when it comes to Advyzon? What's like an underrated feature that you feel like you guys have that you don't get enough notifications for, things like that?
I really think that ADV compliance dashboard that I showed is one that people don't think about until it's time, right? You file your ADVs once a year and you don't really think about it, but then every time it's a pain in the butt and you're miserable for a couple of weeks. That is the one that it's such a small feature, but it comes up every year that at least 3 or 4 clients will reach back out to me and wow, I saved so much time with this ADV. I would say the other more known but really useful is the document sharing in the client portal and just being able to mass update, right? Run all of those reports at once, get them quickly and easily, safely and securely. Our portal is two-way encrypted and encrypted at rest. So being able to deliver those client reports quickly and easily and making sure that they're branded correctly, all that sort of stuff is a huge time saver, which is really well known, but I would say is uh, comes back to us in terms of positive feedback over and over and over again.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip it over to you, Max. Here, I want to learn a little bit more about nitrogen. I've seen the inside once or twice, but I'm excited to watch you
I had
walk through it.
I had one question for you, Henry.
Yeah,
In terms of scale, I know that you guys do a ton with like solar practitioner shops. Talk to me about scale upwards. Like, what does that look like for you guys?
yeah. So we'll scale to anything that any size. I think our largest client has more than 30,000 accounts. We work with aggregators and are actively expanding our enterprise team to handle even more use cases. The great thing about Advyzon and you know working with solo practitionerships that expand is you never really outpace Advyzon, right? We're designed to grow with you as your practice grows. So when you start out as a solo practitioner with no one, you know, under business, we're still great to find you leads and help, onboard people. And then as you continue to grow and scale, right, you can build out different branches and each branch has its own branding. So maybe you absorb another company, you can build that out in Advyzon. You can have as many users as you'd like on this platform. We don't charge per license. We charge based on the number of accounts that we've got to reconcile for your practice, which allows people like administrative assistants and other, I would say non-advisors to still be in the platform and still, getting use out of your subscription. So whether it's a one-man band or a huge enterprise firm with 10 offices across the US, Advyzon's going to suit your needs.
Love that. Love that. All right, cool. I'll let you off the hook here. I'll start once you stop, and we'll go to the nitrogen side. I know when we were looking through the registrations, I know that we had a lot of nitrogen users kind of set up ready for this. So when I start my sharing, I think the main thing that we'll do here is I'll try to keep it pretty high level. I'll focus on the integration parts of Advyzon. And what we're going to do there is when I talk through it, I really want to focus on like the key aspects of how the two tools work together instead of going into all the nitty gritty. I think the one piece, just having talked to folks at Advyzon, talking to folks after the news of Morningstar office closing, I'll probably do one small deep dive. When I was talking to the folks at Advyzon, heck, I think Henry, it might be your boss, John. He was, a former Morningstar guy, and he was talking through, and he's like, I had no idea that you guys did some of the stuff that we have in like portfolio level statistics. So that might be an area that I do, like kind of double click on, but I'm not going to go through every aspect here. If we think about like the story of nitrogen, maybe I do have a couple folks here that have never heard about us. The focus that like the key part that I've always stated is we're the place that advisors go to have like their value proposition shine through to current clients and prospects, right? So when I'm thinking about how do I want to win business, how do I want to make sure that the value I'm bringing as an advisor is shining through to whoever I'm on the other, knee to knee on the other end of a screen share like this, whatever that might look like. I really want to, nitrogen's the spot where I want to be able to present in a way that allows that prospect or client to really understand what I'm doing. So in that context, I do have a prospect here in my demo environment. Just in terms of, again, I'm not going to go through every aspect, but the concept here is wherever that account might be. Let's say it is a current account flowing in from Advyzon. We'll get that information from them nightly. That will update with new account data every single day. The concept there is as you guys are going out there doing active trading, whatever that might look like, all that information will flow into the current portfolio. For a Joe Cool, if it's a household, we'll be able to take that information directly in from Advyzon as well. Let's pretend for this instance, though, like is a prospect. So this isn't an account that I have billing and performance reporting on. I'm trying to win that business to be able to take that over and do all of that work in Advyzon, right? I'm trying to get to that spot where I can do that. Right here in Nitrogen, the concept here is whether I'm taking a CSV file, a PDF, whatever that might looks like, I can plug it in here and be able to help Joe understand where he sits on a scale from 1 to 99. 1 is like everything in a cash money market account. 99 would be like everything in Snapchat stock, right? And the concept here is Joe right now is flying down the road at a 75. And really, what we're trying to help him understand is what's normal for a 75. My mom is a perfect example of how I've seen advisors really use this tool. She's a 40-year federal employee with the post office. If you asked her, I'm from a small town in Willow, Alaska, if you could believe that, about 1,200 people. If you asked her any person in the town's P.O. box, she could tell you. Anybody. People used to call her up and test her. Hey, what's Joe Smith's P.O. box? She'd be able to tell you. If you asked her what standard deviation, volatility, alpha, beta, sharp, she has no clue. She's got no idea what any of that stuff that all goes over her head. She has no ability. But if you told her, okay, on a scale from 1 to 99, you're kind of flying down the road at a 75, and then this is what could happen in your portfolio. This is what's normal. 95% of events state you're going to fall somewhere in this range. The higher the risk number, the wider your range could be. We have less predictability. If I take risk off the table here, your swath is going to get tighter. I have more predictability, more ability to say, yeah, this is, we got a little bit more of a normal range for you. Let's say my mom in that instance is kind of maybe makes going, what's going on here? Why is there so much risk here? The one thing that I'll double click on here is we do risk at the individual position level, not at a high level, asset classification where GM and Tesla and Ford all have the same exact risk number because they fit in that same bucket. We're looking at each one of those like the unique snowflakes that they are. So you'll notice over here on the left, every single position has a risk number associated with it as well. So a lot of detail in here. Again, I'll save some of the nittier grittier stuff. We've got correlation matrices and all sorts of multiple accounts. I could have 401ks, IRAs, and again in Henry's example, let's say the Cambridge. I didn't see your example. The Dutch and Duke and Duchess. I'm not from the UK. I don't know how their world works, but bring those folks in here. You could have a whole household allocated in here, and it'd be great, right? Risk number for every single position, every single account, and then the overall household. What a lot of folks know us for is that risk tolerance questionnaire in the top right-hand corner. For the sake of time, I didn't tell you this at the offset. I run a lot of webinars. I love getting people out of here ahead of time. If you want to stay back and chat and ask questions, we can absolutely do that. But if there's a way for me to get you the information in a time efficient manner, I'm going to do that. So for time efficiency sake, I'm not going to go through the RTQ. Just know it's in the top left-hand corner here. The concept here is I could send one to Joe. I could send one to Susie. Both of them could go through a risk tolerance questionnaire. They both get their own risk number. We can do that at the household level, help them both feel like they're understood. In our example here, Joe's just a single guy. He's a risk number 53. And the concept here, again, as I kind of wrap a bow on the current versus proposed here, is Joe wants to be a 53 in our example, and right now he's flying down the road at a 75. In our system, we can actually quantify how much more in short-term risk to a dollar amount he's taking today than what he wanted. And that's like, again, that power of being able to say, Joe, I think you're over risked here. I can explain to you why in a way that actually makes sense instead of saying, hey, man, your Sortino ratio is X. Right? Like most folks just don't know what that means. So instead, it's like, yeah, your risk number is higher than what you want. Let's talk about a proposal that might be a better fit for you. So this is where Advyzon models can flow in. I could be able to jump in here and go add account, fund stocks and other, copy a model. That information, all that work that you're doing to keep your models up to date in Advyzon would be all flowing through right here where you could be able to select the models as you see fit and pull those in. I already had one pulled in, so just pretend I pushed that Advyzon model, pulled it in into my Good Guy Wealth Management model. I love using this as my screen name. It's like, who could get mad at Good Guy Wealth Management if that was my RIA firm name? I'm sure someone would find a way, but I've been using this for a long time. And the concept here, right, is I just pulled in that proposal and it's a 53. So Joe told me he wanted to be a 53. I show him he's over risked. I run a proposal here and I'm showing him, hey, we're going to get you invested how you told us that you wanted. You want to be that 53. You kind of told me once you start to see that kind of six-figure amount on that, 6-month volatility range, you see that you start to make some pretty bad decisions. So we're really trying to guard you from having ones that swing into that in a normal market event. Couple quick things here. We run stress tests. We have things that you can stress test for a bunch of different things. You can build out your own. You can have this concept of, hey, when the financial crisis were to happen, we'd be falling outside of that normal range, but that's not normal, right? Financial crisis peak to trough when the market was down 53%, you'd be down around 30. If the market jumps up quick like it did in 2013, you get a decent upside shot for that. But again, the concept here is really helping Joe understand we're getting you invested in a way that you told us that you wanted. So one thing I really wanted to double click on, I'm not seeing any questions. This is a quiet group. We got way too many of you guys here for no questions. So I'm gonna do an awkward thing. I'm gonna sit here for like 5 seconds and say, please, if you have any questions, Henry and I are here. This isn't just so him and I can hear each other talk. We could have scheduled a solo call for that. It's meant for you guys to be able to get your questions answered. So if there's anything nitty-gritty wise, integration wise, Advyzon nitrogen, please put those questions in there. We will have some time at the end just based off of how quick we're going here if we want to save them to then, but please bring them up if you have them. One kind of deep dive that I wanted to do, I kind of hinted at this when we're talking about something that the folks at Advyzon did not know that we do. It's this deep portfolio level statistics. So again, if we think about the context of Morningstar Office, I think Advyzon's doing the back end stuff in a fantastic light, probably better than what was available on that side. They're doing all of that. They have all of those pieces, but there was this missing piece of the things that maybe Morningstar is kind of more known for, that statistics, those outputs, those things that are a little bit more on that like prospecting, portfolio analytics side. So I'll quickly hit on this here. I will go through kind of these main pieces. We have a model performance indicator where we can basically do any period of time looking at the current versus the proposal versus the benchmark. I could add in any comparisons in here. I could jump in. I could add their current portfolio versus the proposal versus whatever benchmark I choose. I can build my own benchmark. I could do whatever I want to do there. And the concept here is very easy, very good UI. If we do want to end up showing this to a lawyer, doctor, engineer, I could flip the screen and do that. We have some great statistics that come through here. I spent the entire time bashing Sortino and Sharpe ratio and standard deviation, but it's here. So if you do have a client or prospect that wants to go through that, they can do that. We even do this at the holding level as well. So being able to take all of that information, get really nitty gritty. We try to hide that in like this screen and the thing that's really meant to like be dead simple to an advisor and a client having a conversation, but it's all here running in the background if you do end up wanting to take a deeper look. Um, Diversification level breakdowns all the way to individual positions. Where are we seeing efficiencies based off of how that portfolio is constructed? We've got a historical capture versus the benchmark, asset classification breakdown, bond sector breakdown, duration, maturity, stock intersection analysis. Where are we holding the same position multiple times? I'm seeing some questions coming in here. I'll pause
Yeah,
quickly.
just a few.
Yeah.
So for Eric had, can we go over how to upload statements really quickly? I don't know. I'm happy to do that on the Advyzon side. Is there something that you could show real quick, Max?
Do you want to go over how to upload statements? Yeah, I could do that really quick. So there's probably multiple ways to do this, right? As we're thinking about this. So if I'm over here, I actually think there's multiple questions to that. So let's go back over to the portfolio side. Let's talk like the Joe Cool account doesn't exist here. So we just have a blank slate and it's a prospect that we're talking about. I had one person ask, what about nitrogen statement capture? That's right here. The ability to upload PDF, CSV, or Excel files, try to allow the magic thing of AI to be able to save a lot of time for us here. Most folks are seeing this when they have like their client's not really tech friendly and they just have a PDF, like a printed PDF or a downloaded PDF that the client's sending. We can kind of use AI to start the process of it, or you don't have to enter ticker symbols and allocation amounts. You can also do CSV or Excel files. So someone asks like, hey, where's the statement uploader? That's right here. So again, really quick, sometimes I can click a little bit fast. I pushed add account, fund stocks another, and then you've got this multiple ways of getting this in. I can upload a file using our statement capture features. I can enter it manually if I've just got a couple positions I don't want to tick in, or I can use asset sync if we want to actually allow for Plaid to go in and scrub those accounts from the financial institution and bring them in as of yesterday's business close. So if you have tech-friendly advisor. They want to enter in their Wells Fargo credentials one time. You can pull in the information directly from Plaid there. I feel like I answered two questions with one, which don't get that opportunity very often. Let's see here. I was told nitrogen use AI to import client statements. You do not have, I see one person saying, I do not have nitrogen AI. It is in a closed beta right now, Nick. I see Nicholas Dodds asked that question. So all you have to do is chat into support. The only way that the only thing that might be hanging out there is if you're part of a broker dealer or institution that has not approved it. I'm a part of the process that goes through on approval. So we do have some of the large ones going through waiting for approval. So if you don't see it, go over here. I think you guys can see my screen. You got this chat function. Ask in the chat, hey, can I get access to the statement capture nitrogen kind of beta, and we can either go about giving you access or explaining to you why your where your firm is at in terms of approving that is a very diplomatic way of saying that. Perfect. A lot of good questions there. I'll wrap a bow here on stats, regional exposure, also ability, and then risk reward scatter plot and size and style. So again, kind of just like the main things that you would want in kind of that initial portfolio stats level side. You'll notice something really quick here in the over or in the multi-view. It's in beta. This is something where you can add up to 5 comparisons and go side by side by side by side. Yes, I said that and basically have it to where you can have a bunch of different, if you've got one where a portfolio you might want to risk up and another portfolio you're talking about you might want to risk down, you can have all those comparisons and just basically have a lot of this beautiful view here that allows you to see kind of all the different aspects of these portfolios. I can add any comparisons in here and you'll notice we just have some great stats on the sidelines here, being able to look through all those things. So again, that's the multi-view beta. All right, rounding the finish line here. Go back out here to the overview. I'll spend 5-10 seconds here on retirement maps. We are not a comprehensive financial planning software, but you'll notice I think a lot of folks are kind of looking for quicker, easier, kind of light financial planning, if you will. So this is the ability for us to basically take that portfolio that they came in with and run okay, you told me how you want to invest, how much you want to save leading into retirement, when you want to retire, and how much you want to pull out. I'm going to give you the probability of success. My favorite thing to do here, though, is you can put in pension, Social Security, other things. You can do a bunch of modeling in here. But my personal favorite thing to do is, again, when I think about that value proposition, hey, Joe, if we take you from your current portfolio to the proposal that we built out for you, I can take you from that 60th percentile into the high 70s. We might still need to do some work to get you where you need to go, but that probability of success is going to jump up there. So again, we got a lot of features coming out in retirement maps. If you haven't taken a look at that over the last couple of years, I would suggest getting back in there and taking a look at it. The last thing I will highlight here before we call it a day is what we're doing in reports. So you'll notice Henry and Advyzon are going deep in reports. I think that's why they chose to write to our reports API, and we actually built it for them. And it's this concept of whatever report I build here and I run and have that aspect, they can actually take that information and pull it back into Advyzon. So they can actually take our reports and pull them back in so that you can have a lot of that kind of storage that talked about a client vault, all those sort of things that Nitrogen just isn't doing. The ability to take a lot of this information. If I build a customized snapshot report, I push generate report, they'll be able to take that report and actually pull it over into Advyzon. Again, they are the first company that we worked with that actually was getting in there and getting to that level of detail for their clients to be able to take that information and get it somewhere else to, again, save a ton of time. So you can build great reports in here. I'll just highlight this. Reports Builder to me is the best thing that we've built over the past year in Nitrogen UI land. All I do is add different elements to them. I drag them wherever I want to, and you can create a report that's actually has the look and feel of something that actual prospect or client wanted, and not just a baseline template one that everybody gets. So if they really love the portfolio holdings breakdown where the risk number for every position is shown, you just click add, drag that to the front, you're good to go. Clear generate report, and you're off and running. So with all that being said, I know we're about 10 minutes early. I'm going to jump back in here to the Q&A. Are we using Morningstar data? Daniel asked. We have, believe it or not, we have, I believe it's 30 data sources at this point. That might sound insane, but we do everything from US stocks, ETF, and mutual funds. I believe our data source for that is actually NASDAQ now. We do REITs, non-traded REITs, BDCs, structured notes, UITs, SMAs, variable annuities, all the way down to the sub-account level. We're going directly to carriers to get updated FIA information on buffers and cap rates, RILAs, MIGAs, you name it. The concept here is we really want to be able to get it into the software and have it be able to be scored. And that concept there is what drives our data costs, if you can imagine, up and to the right. Can we run a full report on, say, Berkshire B? Absolutely. Yep, that's in our ISA. So again, if we're looking at like individual securities, I would go over here to the side and I could do, any individual security, pull it up, and I'd have a security level report on that same stats view that we were looking at the overall portfolio. I could do that at an individual security as well. So just up there in the top right hand corner, you can do any of the reports directly from there, push print, and you're off and running. So a lot of different usability and workflow things there when it comes to individual securities as well. Great questions. I think we got the group kind of warmed up. Took you guys a little while, but I think we got to where we are getting a lot of good back and forth there. Are there any other, Eric? I think I answered your question. Can we go over how to upload statements? I think we got that one squared away. Nick, I know we answered a couple questions. If you have any questions there, let me know. If you have any issues, we're going to share. Actually, I'll go over there right now and we'll go into here and the end slide here of the two emails that you guys can. I know we answered a lot of questions here, but if you have, as Henry stated, there might be some things that might be just better off on a one-on-one conversation, going deeper into some of the things that I want to talk about. I'm sure the same can be said for nitrogen. So you can reach out to either of these platforms or either of these emails to kind of get a deeper view from either of our sides to be able to go a little bit deeper and go one-on-one. I will do one last check here, see if we have any further questions. Is there anything coming
Yeah.
up on your side, Henry?
Yeah, Daniel asked about a model portfolio. Just want to make sure, that wasn't on the Advyzon end. Happy to go through what models might look like on the Advyzon end if that's of interest.
Yeah, it's funny. When you get two systems, it's always helpful to
Yeah, and they do look very different.
yes, they do.
Uh, um, but on our side, just really quickly,
I'll do ours and then
yeah,
I'll pass it to you. Model
perfect.
portfolios, we just live over here. I mean, heck, because we're taking the information, it's actually, Daniel, it's a great question. They would pull in, you'd actually get the models integrating from that Advyzon integration. So they'd flow in here. You'd be able to look in, and let's say that Good Guy Wealth Management model is a great example. You'd be able to get in here and look at all the different aspects of that model. I can do any editing that I want to do. I can switch positions out, any of those sort of things. I can do some research in here as well. I can click into stats and actually build and do some different things in here. But again, this is where the models come in and be able to do that. I see a question from Alana, which is a great one. How do you actually connect the two systems? On our side, I believe is probably where you're going to do that. There is if I could spell, there we go. There is a great integration article that walks you through how to actually establish it. So you can actually go through. Basically, what you're going to do is jump in. Actually, it looks like Henry, is it on your guys' side that you actually start that
It
integration?
is, it is, and I can share my screen and go through for Advyzon users. It's going to be on Universal Knowledge Base. For those who have gone through Advyzon, you'll be very familiar with this. But there's a whole nitrogen page here that'll go through the details on how to establish this, and then also how to add in these kind of enhanced integrations. So I'm going to just scroll down a little bit further. If you come in here, one of the things you can do is sync nitrogen models. That's probably very small on your screen, but this right here, sync models to nitrogen, sync reports to Advyzon to access those kind of enhanced integrations. That is how you link those two. And then just going back for model portfolios on our side, obviously there's tons of apps and Advyzon. The ones that you guys are looking for is here. Model portfolios, we'll open that up. A couple of different kind of levels of models you can build: security models, allocation models, blended models, and some sleeve-based models. Most firms are going to live here in security models. If I open up basic model, let's see what that has. Again, just kind of giving you high level statistics on what is inside of this model. Go in and edit. This is really what you do at the beginning. You'd set up kind of a name for it. minimum investment, maybe a quick description. One of the cool things for our models as well, you can download the model template. So if you keep your models in CSV currently and you don't want to come in and hand key in all these different securities, you don't have to. This is also where you'll set things like location preference. If certain securities shouldn't be, let's say, in a tax deferred account for some reason, you can make sure that those securities are not traded um, into those accounts. A lot more you can do here. This would be definitely a good topic for a one-on-one demo. I've definitely spent more than an hour with people in those areas. So hopefully that was good here on model portfolios. Anything else that we can do before we wrap here?
Let's see.
Tax reports, realized gain loss. Yes, we definitely have that. Um,
Yep, advisors can copy models from the model marketplace as well,
yep.
Rick. So we have, do you guys have a model marketplace as well, Henry?
We do, we do.
Okay.
And once they're subscribed, they can then send it over. That's through our AIM or investment management team, but our model marketplace is called Nucleus. Ask about that if you're an Advyzon user. Gives you access not only to, advise on investment management models, but, big players in the space, Zacks, VanEck, Dimensional, BlackRock, you name it, it's in there.
Cool. All right, I'm going to bring this up one more time just to make sure if anybody has any additional questions, they know where to go. Let's jump in here. Perfect. So you guys should be able to see grow at nitrogenwealth.com or marketing at advyzon.com for more information. I really do. I think I can speak for Henry as well. When we have folks asking questions, that last little bit just flies by when we're getting into detailed questions from folks. So really appreciate everybody's time. Just knowing there's a lot of things that are pulling at everybody. So being able to do that is fantastic. I've got a raised hand. I see you, Scott. I'm not sure. I don't know. If you want to ask a question, you can put it in the chat, Scott Hamilton. Um, I see you, Mario. Yes, statement capture is going to continue to improve. It is. That's why it's still in beta. We are constantly shipping things into there. You should see some big improvements here in the next couple of weeks. We have another sprint ending here in, I believe, August, right in the beginning part of August. That will continue to push updates and improvements there. Generative AI, for anybody that's used it, is an interesting beast. So I'll just put it that way. So we're just continuing to learn, continuing to improve on that side. If you have any additional feedback there, Mario, you can always email into support or your relationship manager, depending on the context of your contract, and we can continue to look in and help there. But yeah, perfect. I see you, Scott. All good. I make mistakes constantly, as I probably made on this one. So thanks for attending. I think with that we will call it. Again, please, if you have any questions, go ahead and put those into these two inboxes. But other than that, on behalf of Nitrogen and Advyzon, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it, and hope everybody has a great day. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody.